just tell me a little bit about taking on this role. At first, we are kind of like, what is happening with your character? And then just episode by episode, we come to love her. She is extremely dedicated, and I just want to know how you kind of took that on.
Oh, thank you. I felt the same when I first read her, that I was like, who is this person? That's what really intrigued me to her. And I think she's probably someone who doesn't have a lot of support in her life and is quite chaotic for those reasons. And I think it's through the course of meeting, Grosso or Aaliyah and people sort of showing her kindness in her life that really gets her sort of better at her job, because she feels sort of supported and respected. So but I think the main thing I knew I had to do was sort of figure out all the baggage that she's bringing, because she brings a lot.
So tell me a little bit about what it was like getting the script at first. What was your initial reaction reading through?
It's man, it's very intense, and basically all of my stuff is it's like the light, before. So reading it was kind of like, oh, this guy is so sweet, and then we go and do stuff, and it's like, whoa, but then he's just so nice at the same time. So I knew that it would be a fun one to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was it like working through that dialogue across from Tom and Raúl? I mean, that must have been a crazy experience altogether. What was it like in those early days with you guys?
Yeah, well, I think our first scene was mainly stunts. So a lot of our early figuring stuff out was we're all in Halloween masks, and so it was just kind of a game of who's where, how do you move, what's your voice sound like, and then by the end of that first week, we were all just buddies, because you go on set and you do these crazy intense robbery and whatnot, and then you go back to your chairs and you all just hang out and talk about stuff, and they're the best. I love those guys. So it was fun.
Do you have a favorite line of Peach's? One of my favorite is, and I'll save the curse words for later, but he says, we're not jumping into a body of water, we're robbing a trap house.
We're robbing a trap house, yeah.
Do you have a favorite that stands out?
There was I mean, the one where they're talking about they're gonna do this job, and Peaches is this'll make for this will be a good score for my wedding.
Yeah, he's always thinking about his fiance.
That's what he cares about. Yeah, is his angel.
Absolutely. And what do you hope that audiences take from your character at the end of the day? Lesson learned, or?
No, because I don't think Peaches was a bad. He's not a bad guy. He's. Yeah, just there's something beautiful about him, and it's okay to just be really into
love.
Good for you, man. Do your thing.
Just kind of wanted to start and ask you what you were most excited about when you heard the premise of this show, got to know your character a little bit.
Yeah, I was just saying before, when I read the sides, which is your audition sides, and you don't get to read much more, I immediately felt this woman, and she was so specific, and that's just such a sign of great writing when you read something and you know that you can feel the person. Sometimes when the writing is not great, you read something and you're 20 people could play this part, it could be anybody, but she was so specific and such an exciting character for me to try to play, and then the minute that I got the script, I was just completely blown away. I mean, it's so special.
And she's a very layered character as well. I mean, things we learn about her throughout each episode, so how did you kind of take on really dealing with more? I mean, with each episode you had more.
Yeah, it was a lot, and it's not a lot of screen time, but there's a lot to unpack, and I definitely questioned myself a bit on this one, because I just wanted to really give her and this crew and cast my all, and Brad, and it was a dark world to live in for sure, but just having an opportunity to work with everyone there was just felt like such a gift. So yeah.
And a lot of huge themes in this show are legacy, protection, the things that we pass down. So what do you hope that audiences, viewers take from your character throughout the show?
For me, it's always about humanity, somebody seeing themselves even for a moment in another person. And what I love about this show is just even the contrast between the two main characters that are, on the one hand, couldn't be living more different lives, but their humanity is the same, and at the end of the day all of ours is, and we're just looking to be loved and seen and to have our family be safe. And so it's just a lot of humanity in it.
With such big themes as legacy and what we pass down to our family and those that we love, what were some non-negotiables that you guys discussed when creating each episode, making sure that humanity really shone through?
Well, I think that we just really wanted to be this naturalistic slice of real life, because we know in real life, no matter how good someone seems or how bad someone seems, they came from somewhere. They were all kids in the beginning. And I think that's what I love about these characters, is that at the end of it, you love our bad guys. They have kids and families, and they have to live life too. And I think that is really what's going to draw people in, is this sort of gray area instead of it being so black and white.
Right. And you guys are writing about real people, real communities specifically. How did you kind of tap in, and what kind of conversations specifically with Brad, especially, who came from that area? What was really standout moments from the beginning, and how did it kind of go?
It's so funny. First of all, the actors who were cast are so amazing, and I like to see what they do first. I don't come in with too many notes until I see what you're bringing out of it, and they've done so much background work themselves working on, once someone gets that Philly accent right, it just kind of pulls you into that world. And my own research of really getting to know Philly and what some of these small pockets in the area are really like, and talking to our police officer who is our tech on it. So it's kind of many different things to get ready for this world.
I first want to talk about the strength of your character. She goes through a lot, and yes.
I haven't seen it, so that's awesome.
You are a force in this. I mean, you go through a lot, and you deal with very touchy material, and so I kind of just wanted to ask you how you approached the script, how you kind of dealt with those themes. And
I just got chills. So domestic violence is a deeply real thing in every country, in every part of society. Brad actually gave me a book about domestic violence that I pored over and cried over. And I think that was sort of like the hook in, and then just, hearing stories and people sharing with me, sadly, how many women have been affected by domestic violence. I felt a big responsibility to go there and to also not be a victim. She's victimized, but she ultimately, like every woman I've met who's come through domestic violence, she's a fighter.
Absolutely, and she look. The two of us. No, because
no one asked about that level, and I really appreciate it.
Of course, other elements of your performance obviously shine through, but it was such jarring is not the word, but it really it shakes you to your core to actually see, and that's not easy to do, I imagine, as an actor.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really respect it.
I also had such generous cast mates who, even if it was scary or dark, that there was so much love and it felt very safe.
how did you feel first reading the script, taking on this role, and being alongside this cast?
Absolutely. No, it was an absolute honor to come onto this project. Brad is such an incredible talent. I think he's doing TV at the highest level right now. I was a huge fan of Mayor. So when these scripts came across my desk, it was like a no-brainer. I wanted to read them, and they're the kind of scripts that you don't want to stop until you get to the last page, and then you want more. So I hope audiences will feel the same when they're watching the show. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just working with such big themes. I mean, balancing that heaviness and the humor. I mean, what was the hardest part of getting that dialogue down with your co-stars?
I mean, keeping a straight face with Tom Pelphrey, that's kind of the hardest part. I mean, he's such a joy to come to work with. Robbie and Cliff have so many wonderful scenes together, and working with Tom was an absolute joy. And you kind of need that when you're working with material this dark. I feel like you need a little bit of balance, and we found that. We found the levity in the dark, in the darkness.
For sure. What were some ways that you kind of helped each other, in between those heavy takes and those tense moments? I mean, a few of your co-stars have talked about how you kind of all lifted each other up after those heavy scenes.
I mean, if you hear Tom Pelphrey's voice, his booming laugh penetrating through the trailer walls, that's enough to uplift your spirits.
Snap you out of it, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, he's got the best laugh, totally.
For sure. And then what do you hope that audiences take from Cliff's character in general? What do you hope that they...
I hope with all these characters, I feel like that part of Brad's genius is his ability to depict humanity with its best and worst components and make you fall in love with these characters. There's no villains, just like I feel like in life there are no good or bad people. We all make good and bad choices, and I think he's really brilliant at getting to the heart of humanity always in his scripts. I mean, I was such a huge fan of Mara. It's an honor to be part of Task, absolutely. Yeah.
Congratulations. Such a major accomplishment. How do you feel?
I'm ecstatic. I want to scream, but I can't because I'm trying to be a professional, be a good girl, but I am inside for sure.
Well, this is such a big deal. How did you feel taking on this character, and just such a emotionally complex one? She's dealing with a lot of big feelings at a very young age.
Honestly, I felt so supported while in the process. So honestly, it was not even that. I know it really is a very complex layered character, but I had so much support. I had so much collaboration. I had so many meetings with Brad and so much support from Mark that it was so much fun too. I was so excited to go to work every day and have a kiki while also then have a good cry in front of the camera,
Right. And we see your character start off as a little reserved before we find out, just why she feels the way she does or why she's acting the way she does. So how did you slowly reveal that episode by episode through your character?
I mean, I think the writing itself has that arc, but I think I also worked on mapping out what that emotional arc would look like for Emily, because I wanted people to almost be a little curious about her. The same way I want people to be a little curious about me. I'm like, who is she? I wanted people to be like, what is happening here? Do we like her? What, go in that journey with Emily, and I hope I accomplished that. I hope people felt that.
You did. What was your favorite part about portraying your character and such a commanding force, I will say?
You know what? It was like, from the second I read the scripts, from the second I wanted to be kind of, this world to be, it's HBO. If you're going to make telly, make it with these guys. And the cast, the writing, Brad's writing, Mark, everything. Come on. Do you know what I mean? What, are you kidding me? I'm a young man from Ireland. Do you know what I mean? To get this opportunity to be on this stage internationally here, to be so committed to a job like this, to show the rest of the world like this and be behind a job like this, it's a dream come true.
And you really did such an amazing job, and dealing with such heavy subject matter and such big themes. I mean, what was the biggest takeaway for you when you got to learn more about your character, and what you hoped really shone through the most on screen?
Yeah, I think what I think Brad does very, very well is he creates this world whereby there are no villains. Everybody has their own agenda. Everybody is just a good guy on the other side of the fence. They all have their own way of navigating the world. And I had to think of him like that. I had to think of him as a guy who was just a good guy, who had his own agenda, that would destroy everything that stepped in the way of him protecting his family and the ones that he loved. And that's the way I had to approach the part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes to great lengths. Every time he goes far,
I know.
You don't think it could get worse.
It's rough. It's rough. Yeah.
So did that shock you, especially reading the writing, seeing it escalate as far as it did?
It did, yeah, of course. I mean, like, every script that we got in was just like, it was a joy to read. But yeah, for me, I just had to, look, there's no denying I had to put a little bit of blinders on, you know what I mean? I had to go like, okay, the only thing I can identify with this guy is how much he loves his family. That was my key into this role, and that was the way I was able to portray this in the way, hopefully, that I did. But when he makes a move, when he makes a decision, everyone dies.
Yeah, everyone.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
he leaves a trail for sure. So your character instills a certain kind of fear in people, and he doesn't even so much as raise his voice that much. It's just how your demeanor. Yes,
I mean,
and
I bring something to it, but
absolutely.
the writing is so good. It was so rich to get into it, you know.
Yeah, tell me about how it was, just episode by episode, how you really dove in.
Well, we shot so out of order, you know, so you're not really sure what you're doing. I mean, you know what you're doing, but it's not consecutive, it's not chronological. So it's really interesting to have to find out, all right, where am I in this moment? And take a lot of notes and try to just let it go, you know?
Sure. And you make a lot of big calls, tough decisions. You change your mind a few times in this series. And so how do you, I guess, authentically portray that conflict? Because you can see it on your face in those moments when you're kind of going back and forth with what you're about to do.
I think you try to be into the character as much and with what they're actually going through as much as you can, and then you draw from your personal life of things that have happened and you kind of merge them together, you know?
Absolutely. And a lot of the gang activity in this series is super, super specific. So what kind of conversations were you guys having through the process with Brad, with your writers? How did that kind of work to make that?
Well, Sam Keeley and I worked really well together. We really love each other, and it was a really great chemistry to work off him. And then there were some real biker guys that you could talk to and get stuff from them, and then Brad would just lead you through it, you know, and Jeremiah and Sally.
That's incredible. So what was their best advice for you, I guess, to really make that so authentic?
I don't know about a single best advice, but they really let us play. You were loyal to the words that were scripted, but Brad wasn't precious about it. You know, he'd let, if he didn't like something, he'd say, you know what, I don't like what I wrote here. Let's change this around. And he was great about that. And then Sally and Jeremiah are just great directors. They really hone you and lead you in, you know?
You being a father in real life, I mean, that must have really influenced how you took on this role and how you dealt with these big and heavy themes as you were working through them. So just explain a little bit to me how that impacted your performance.
Well, I mean, I think on some level, I know that becoming a father just changes who you are, you know, in a million different ways, and so that applies to work as well. And certainly now, where I would have had to imagine what it meant in the past, playing a character with children, I know what it means now. I don't have to guess anymore. So hopefully all of it just makes you better. Certainly makes you more grateful.
Absolutely. And I think that you really see those moments shine through. And with you and Mark, there wasn't that much time that you guys actually had acting across from one another throughout this series. So what was it like watching that final product play out on both ends, seeing his side?
It was so beautiful. I was so proud of everybody involved. You know, there are so many incredible actors in our show and here tonight, and I didn't get to work with a lot of them. And so to see, I thought everybody did phenomenal work in the show. And I was so excited to reach out to them after I saw it and congratulate them, and really impressive. genuinely across the board, and everything that they did in post, and just, Brad put together a really special team, and it's exciting to see it come together in a way that seems good and seems like everybody's pretty happy, and it's nice. Doesn't always work out this way.
And you said that nailing down that accent kept you up at night. How did you finally get it down?
Hours and hours repeating. Suzanne Selby, our great dialect coach, was very helpful, and she was always available. I'd always drill with her for the week before the week started, and then before we started filming was just desperate to find a real speaker with the real accent. Found one. He would talk to me on the phone, and I could listen. Just trying to put your head in it as long and as much as possible. It helped that we're filming in the actual area, so yeah.
So you have quite the gift of
thank you
writing
so much.
about real people, real
Thank you.
communities. I understand that is such a huge part of what this show is.
Yes.
So I just wanted to ask, what were some of your non-negotiables when it came to starting to write the series, and especially just keeping that emotional lens in focus?
Yeah, I think one of the non-negotiables, which wasn't really a fight because HBO got behind it, was to shoot in the area, to shoot in the real place. And I think that's something that, as an actor, as a writer, as a crew, when you're shooting a story about a specific place, it helps to be there. And I don't know how to quantify it, but just listening to people talk, seeing how they act, what clothes they're wearing, what their homes look like, it seeps into your skin in some way, and I think it makes the performances richer. I think it makes the story more honest. So I would say the biggest non-negotiable is that if we're going to make a story again about this place, about Delaware County, we have to shoot it there, and luckily HBO was on board with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you spoke a lot about, your uncle's real-life experiences and the influence that they had on this series. So expand a little bit more on that and tell me what was the most important part of really highlighting that authenticity through his experiences.
Yeah, I think it was really just, my uncle, he was an Augustinian priest for a long time. He left the priesthood, and over time his ideas about God have changed and faith have changed, and I find it really interesting. I find that I like to ask the questions about God, and it's something that I'm interested in myself, and so I thought it would be interesting to showcase a character who's going through his own journey. He's lost his faith. He's seeking some of it back, but he doesn't know how or why. And it's through the gauntlet of the case that he arrives at a place of some faith. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's some level of faith.
Yeah, developing.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and you do such an incredible job of letting humor shine through such tense moments.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so I kind of want to ask how you kept that going through each episode. How do you keep that balance?
Yeah, I think it's a real, a bit of a math game you're playing in your head. Is like how much heaviness and tension is the audience going to stand, and you have to try to put yourself in the viewer's shoes and go, man, we just went through a heavy sequence. Maybe it's time to take a break and let them breathe so they get ready for the next tense sequence. And I think you're constantly trying to become a viewer and say, wow, I went through a really 8-minute set piece. Now I need to take a break. So where do those lulls come in? And I think Martha especially was hilarious in the show. Allison Oliver, everything she does is fantastic. So we were always on set, and even Mark, we were always on set saying more humor, more, make us laugh.
Yeah, for sure. And just what you hope audiences will take away from this at the end of the day when they finish the series.
I hope they'll find it really engaging. I hope they'll want to go to the next episode because they want to see what happens to these characters. And I hope we leave them with a feeling that they spent time with people they got to know in a really meaningful way, and they're hopeful for the future of these characters.
So this is not your first time playing an FBI agent. So how was it different this time around? What kind of prep went into this performance?
So much of it was kind of what he's dealing with personally. But I also had just the most incredible technical advisor, Scott Duffy, who's an FBI agent but also trains FBI agents. And he was with us every single day, and I would run over to him and we were constantly like, how do we get a deeper cut on this? How do we make it this character's version of being an FBI agent? How do we make it interesting to people? And yeah, it was great. I had a lot of support.
And I have to ask you, we reported that we're going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We also have John Bernthal coming as the Punisher. What are you looking forward to with him being in that universe?
If I'm doing that, which the rumors are that I am,
on the street.
yeah, once I get a script, I'll know it's real. But I love him, and we have a common friend in Lena Dunham, believe it or not, who just adores him, and I can't wait to work with him. He's so funny, and he's like such a great actor, and he plays that character like nobody else. So I'm really excited to meet him. I've never met him.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's so surprising.
I know, it's crazy.